Action!
Quentin Tarantino, director, writer, and cinematic genius. He is the recipient of 2 Academy Awards and even the famous Palme d'Or Award at the Cannes Film Festival. If you do not know him from his name, you will definitely know him from his work, which include films such as Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, and just so much more. But have you ever wondered how Tarantino came to be such a renowned filmmaker? How did he go from a video store worker to an Oscar winner? Well, in this documentary, I will explain just that. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see some serious gourmet sh**. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Okay, sorry. Let's go. To find out more about how Tarantino rose to fame, we're going to have to go back all the way to the year 1987. This year, Tarantino attempted to shoot his first ever short film titled My Best Friend's Birthday on a budget of only $5,000. He had never attended film school and therefore was making this film with 0 experience. This meant the project proved highly difficult to complete and he never managed to fully finish the film, resulting in a 36-minute short film that did mediocre with the critics. The entire process crushed his confidence and he gave up on filmmaking to return back to his previous job as a video store worker in California. He did this for the next 4 years. In the later years of him working there, he noticed that the heist films such as Die Hard, Thief, and Family Business were flying off the shelves left, right, and centre. While restocking the shelves, he came to the realisation that there had not been a good heist film made in a while. Just then, the idea struck him. What if there was a heist film, but you never see the heist? Little did he know, this would become the main idea for his film debut, Reservoir Dogs. Without any hesitation, Tarantino grabbed a notepad and pen to put his idea to life. Within 3.5 weeks, he had finished the screenplay for his heist film, Reservoir Dogs. With the script finished, he turned to his good friend Lawrence Bender to see what he thought of the script. Unsurprisingly, he was absolutely blown away by it and insisted that Tarantino turn it into a feature film. On top of this, Lawrence presented the script to his acting teacher at the time, who was also highly impressed with the final result. Out of pure curiosity, Lawrence's teacher asked him who his dream actor would be to play the role of Mr. White, the lead in the film. Bender responded with, "The role would be perfect for Harvey Keitel." By pure luck, his teacher's wife was good friends with Keitel and could send him the screenplay at any point. So, his wife gave the script to Keitel and gave him Tarantino's number to give him feedback on what he thought. The very next day, Tarantino had received a voicemail on his home phone from Keitel. Not only did he want to play the lead of the film, but he also wanted to produce it too.
A colleague of mine from the Actors Studio called me one day and said, "Harvey, I have a script I think you're going to like." It was Reservoir Dogs. And then, to make a long story short, and I arranged a meeting with Quentin. He came to see me. I was shooting in LA at the time. And when he knocked on my door and I opened the door and he said, "Mr. Keitel?" I said, "It's Keitel, but come in."
With Harvey Keitel attached to the script, the production company Miramax invested in the project and gave Quentin a budget of $1.5 million. With a big name joining the project, other male stars such as Chris Penn, Steve Buscemi, and Tim Roth happily joined the project. So, through the power of great connections and sheer luck, Tarantino acquired a star-studded cast and a budget of over $1 million. In mid-1991, filming for Reservoir Dogs began in the outer suburbs of Los Angeles. The process only took 35 days and was then ready to be cut in the editing stage. This is when Tarantino hired his longtime editor and main collaborator, Sally Menke. But why did Tarantino want a female editor to edit his violent films, you ask?
When I was doing my first movie, the only thing I knew is I wanted a female editor, because I just felt a female editor would be more nurturing to the movie and to me. I wouldn't try to be winning their way just to win their way, all right? They wouldn't be trying to shove their agenda or win their battles with me. They would be nurturing me through this process.
It was during the editing process that Tarantino faced a major problem, this being the controversial ear-cutting scene involving the character Mr. Blonde and the cop and, well, you know the rest. The producer of the film, Harvey Weinstein, the head of Miramax, told Tarantino to cut the scene from the film to increase profit and viewer experience, but no one was going to tell Tarantino how to make a film. Therefore, he refused to cut the scene and kept it in. Reservoir Dogs premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in January of 1992 to mixed reviews from critics and audiences. Some called it the best director debut since Orson Welles' Citizen Kane, and others called it a film that promotes nothing but violence and toxic masculinity. Quentin accepted these reviews with pleasure and is still pleased with the final result to this day. This entire process shows that anyone can achieve anything if they put their mind to it. However, little did these critics know, it was only the beginning for Mr. Tarantino. After the premiere of Reservoir Dogs, Tarantino went travelling to Amsterdam for 6 months. But why Amsterdam? According to Tarantino, it was strictly to undergo writing. He stated it was all about living in another country. While away in Amsterdam, one of the good friends he made while working at the video store, Roger Avery, joined him. The two then started work on an epic screenplay that became Pulp Fiction. Using all of their old script drafts, they decided to combine it into one brand new screenplay. Roger Avery came up with the Golden Watch storyline. Tarantino's deleted scenes from True Romance became the Jules and Vincent story. The two then came up with a perfected story about a date, which became the date between Vincent and Mia Wallace. Then finally came up with a story about two robbers in a diner, which became the Pumpkin and Honey Bunny story. By mid-1993, they had finally finished the script for Pulp Fiction. Due to the success of Reservoir Dogs, Quentin already had a budget of at least $1 million from Miramax for his next project. When they returned back to the US, Tarantino insisted that Avery stay and help him work on the project, but unfortunately Avery had to decline as he was getting married and needed money to film his own film, Killing Zoe. Therefore, he sold the rights to Pulp Fiction back to Tarantino. All that was left to do now was cast the actors for the film. Originally, Tarantino wrote the two main characters for Lawrence Fishburne to play Jules and Michael Madsen, who played Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs, to play Vincent. When he offered the role to Fishburne, his agent told him to turn it down as it was a supporting role. It was a similar situation for Madsen, who also had to turn it down due to scheduling conflicts with Wyatt Earp.
No, I turned down Pulp Fiction. I do not regret that decision at all. You know why? Because it turned out to be the star-making role of Sam Jackson's career. Star-making role. That's the role that made Sam Jackson a star.
However, Tarantino would not let this get him down and tried to find another pair of actors to fit the role. That's when he made one of the most controversial decisions in cinema. He offered the role of Vincent Vega to John Travolta. That's right, John Travolta. But back during the 1990s, people had lost interest in John Travolta and his work. He went from an Oscar-nominated actor who starred in cult classics such as Grease, and Saturday Night Fever, to a mediocre actor who played it safe with childish projects such as Look Who's Talking and The Experts. Nevertheless, Tarantino saw great potential in the actor, and he knew he would be perfect for the role of Vincent. When he proposed the idea to the producers of the project, they thought he was crazy. Even Lawrence Bender said to him, "You can hire anybody in the world. Why do you want John Travolta?" But Tarantino would not budge, even going as far as to say if Travolta declines, he would not make the film. Fortunately, Travolta loved the script and was more than happy to join the project. On top of this, Tarantino was able to recruit most of the cast of Reservoir Dogs back together, such as Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, and Steve Buscemi. Keitel even managed to bring along his neighbour, Bruce Willis, to the project, who was a massive fan of Reservoir Dogs and was interested in the role of Vincent. Even though Travolta was already cast in the role, Tarantino was so impressed with his enthusiasm, he offered him the role of the rogue boxer Butch. All that was left now was to find the right person to play Vincent's partner in crime, Jules Winfield. That's when an absolute legend came to audition for the role, Samuel L. Jackson. Jackson originally auditioned for Reservoir Dogs, but sadly didn't get the role. He absolutely killed it in the audition, impressing Tarantino so much that he never made him audition again for any of the roles in his films.
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
With all the roles cast, Tarantino filmed the project in Los Angeles once again, but this time on a budget of over $8 million. Production started in September of 1993 and finished late November that same year. After several months of marketing and editing, Pulp Fiction premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in May of 1994. It stunned audiences. No one had ever seen a film like this before. Its use of effective non-linear storytelling and clever dialogue made the film stand out against the other films that premiered that same year. Later that same day, Tarantino won the grand prize at the film festival, the Palme d'Or Award for Best Film.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction absolutely swept the award season that year, winning awards from the Film Critics Association for Best Screenplay, Best Directing, Best Picture, and Best Acting Performance by John Travolta. Tarantino even went on to win a BAFTA and a Golden Globe for Best Original Screenplay. All that was left now was the Oscars. Pulp Fiction was nominated for 7 categories that year, which included Best Picture, Best Directing, Best Original Screenplay, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor and Actress, and finally, Best Film Editing. However, at the 67th Annual Academy Awards, Pulp Fiction went up against 4 other incredible films: The Shawshank Redemption, Forrest Gump, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and Quiz Show. In the end, Forrest Gump took home the Oscar for Best Picture. This was the case for most of the categories that year. Nevertheless, Pulp Fiction pulled through and managed to win the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay.
Quentin Tarantino, Roger Averick for Pulp Fiction.
Thanks. This has been a very strange year. I can definitely say that.
To this day, people still debate whether Pulp Fiction should have won the Oscar for Best Picture instead of Forrest Gump, as it was unique and unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. Nevertheless, the loss of Oscars did not stop Tarantino from producing even more incredible films. Over the next 13 years, Tarantino came out guns blazing and made 3 in his eyes, masterpieces. These included Jackie Brown, Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2, and Death Proof. Each one contained a star-studded cast and fantastic storylines. Although each was incredible in their own ways, they were sadly not as successful as his earlier projects. What's even more disappointing is that all 3 were ignored by the Academy Awards. It would not be until 2009, when Tarantino released his war drama, Inglourious Basterds, he would once again get recognition from the Academy.
Ooh, that's a bingo!
It is no surprise that Quentin Tarantino is an absolute genius of a filmmaker. What makes him stand out from other directors of his generation is his ability to write his own screenplay with some of the best dialogue in cinematic history. Even Tarantino's biggest inspirations, such as Martin Scorsese and Brian De Palma, did not write their own screenplays when they were in their prime during the 1970s and 80s. This makes him stand out from some of the most critically acclaimed directors of all time. Another reason that makes Tarantino so unique is because of his use of non-linear storytelling within his filmography. This is most present in his most famous film, Pulp Fiction. His ability to turn non-linear structure into a captivating narrative by intertwining 4 unique storylines sets him apart from other directors. His use of this technique over the years has influenced a variety of films. His influence of this technique can be seen in modern films such as Memento, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and Arrival. This technique has also influenced a vast amount of critically acclaimed TV shows. Non-linear storytelling can be found in shows such as Breaking Bad and even Better Call Saul. This goes to show how successful Tarantino's work is and why his filmography is so important. Tarantino's use of camera techniques has also influenced modern filmmaking in a number of ways. His most used and famous camera angle is the low-level angle. This involves the camera looking up at the character to make them appear more powerful than they actually are. This can be seen in the vast majority of Tarantino's work, first being used in Reservoir Dogs. Tarantino's effective camera technique can be found in a variety of modern films, one of the most famous ones being in Christopher Nolan's epic, The Dark Knight.
Where are they? Choose between one life or the other.
In March of 2023, Tarantino announced his 10th and final film titled The Movie Critic. The film was set to take place in Los Angeles during the 1970s, and it was announced that Brad Pitt would star in it. Unsurprisingly, myself and millions of others around the world were absolutely ecstatic for this film and couldn't wait to watch it when it came out. However, as of April 18th, 2024, Tarantino has abandoned the plans for his final film, The Movie Critic, due to a sudden change of heart. Therefore, it is still uncertain whether Tarantino will actually make his final film or not. But one thing is certain, his influence and legacy he has created over the past 3 decades is eternal and will never ever be forgotten. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have learned more about Quentin Tarantino and that I have convinced you that he is the greatest director of all time. I'm so sorry. I think I should be leaving now.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.